What was the most impactful thing you learned playing hockey?
Mm, yeah, that's a good question. Impactful thing I learned playing hockey. I think I think just how to be a good I think how to be a good teammate. I mean, that's a cliche answer, but I think I'm realizing a lot like in my professional life now that being a good teammate or being a leader even, that's the most important I could. And I'm not even saying I was a great leader or even a great teammate all the time, but I was blessed to play with great teammates and great leaders um that I was able to pull things from and learn from. So I think like and everyone always says like, the best artists like they steal with genius. And it's like I feel like that's been a huge component of my life just because I've been able to steal with genius just with like the other, athletes or people, that I've been around and able to play with my entire life. I've been able to kind of pick and choose like the best qualities that I have seen in that leader that really, got emotional responses in me to like want to, try even harder for that team. Be able to pick and choose in that and be like, I want to carry that in my life. Like I want to be able to affect people in that way. I want to live my life with that much integrity and that much discipline. So I think, yeah, the most impactful thing that I took from the hockey world is, I mean, it taught me how to be a good person. I feel like, in playing from all those people. But yeah, good teammate, good person. I think those two things go hand in hand.
Yeah, 100%. That's awesome. I feel like there's so much to be learned, like from team sports, especially in like hockey. I feel like the culture is just kind of special for that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. I think everyone's chasing it. Like even now, I'm just I'm still chasing that kind of locker room feeling, right? Um, like I'm trying to create this company. I have a company called Winning Productions USA, and I literally have two kids right over here in like the room next to me. We're working out of my two-bedroom apartment right now, and it's like we're still chasing that same thing. We're trying to develop this community, and like we're all like-minded people, kind of striving for the same goals. And it's like even outside of hockey, it's like same thing. That's what you're chasing, that feeling of belonging and community, and like striving for an end goal and whatever field it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, kind of going off that, like, how did you approach life after competitive hockey?
Yeah, I think I was lucky. So I feel like I had a wake up call my freshman year in college just because I wasn't playing at all. So I was I continued. I played throughout my entire collegiate year, but my freshman year was really like wake up call where it was like, well, this is gonna be it, and like you're not just a hockey player. And I do think I went to a prep school called Trinity Pauling Prep School, and I did learn there that I had way more interest outside of just playing hockey. I loved musical theater, and I played baseball as well. I was like in environmental clubs, and I was doing student government. I was doing all these different things. And I kind of like there I started to develop this like, okay, well, I'm not just a hockey player. Like hockey's a part of me for sure, but I don't fully identify with like that's my all being. That's who I am. And then freshman year in college, I definitely had a tough time because I wasn't playing at all. So if I was a hockey player, then like I'm not even playing. Like who am I now? And that was like an identity crisis of like, okay, do you transfer at that point? Do you keep going, with the school that you're at that you made the commitment to, like whatever it is. Um, and so that's kind of how I got into like social media and doing things behind the scenes, and then started picking up cameras and doing all that stuff. So I feel like I started to segue even like out of hockey while I was still playing hockey. I was playing it, I was enjoying it. And I played it because I loved it, not because of this end goal that I had in my mind. Like, of course, everyone grows up wants to be, in the NHL or the PWHL or, whatever it is. But I think that's why I was playing a lot of my life. And like I look back on it now, I'm like, I wish I just played because I loved it. I love the game. I still play hockey because I love the game, not because I'm trying to get anywhere with it. And I think that I kind of realized that early, like freshman, sophomore year in college, and I kind of, veered off into other directions and, with what I was studying with my degrees and then kind of what I was doing, with cameras and social media. And I kind of made that segue or change a little bit sooner than even being done with the game. But I think that's there's one thing I say that's the important thing is like it's really easy to associate what you do or your actions with your being. And it's like just because you do or just because you play hockey, that's not who you are, right? Like your being is here. It's internal. Like there's no actions or feelings or thoughts. Like that's not you. That's just like, how you're perceiving the things that are coming at you. So I think it's, yeah, I've seen a lot of athletes struggle with making that segue after, and I think it's always just like, come back here, stop looking at it from all these things that are going around you, happening to you, and live from like here out and figure out what it is that your being wants or strives for, or gets what gets you going.
Yeah, definitely. I love that you mentioned that because identity is a big thing that I talk about, and like diversifying your identity. I think like I kind of fell into the trap of only being a hockey player, but
Mm,
hockey can be kind of fragile. Like you can get hurt, like you don't play, like so many things can
mm,
happen. I think it's so healthy to have other parts of yourself.
mm. Yeah, 100%. Because I wonder, like, have you found other things too? Like, even the show. It's like, I'm sure there are aspects of this show that make you feel or kind of give you the benefits of like the same things that hockey does for you. You know what I mean? Whether it's challenging your mind or challenging your patience when I show up 15 minutes up late for an interview, right? So it's like, it's like we're just searching for, yeah, we want to be happy. We want to do things that we feel fulfilled doing, even more than happiness. And it's like you can get that from so many things. It's just like having the curiosity and the openness to try different things.
Yeah, definitely. Like I've gotten so much from this show. Like it's been kind of a learning experience. Like I've had to learn how to interview people, like find people to
Mm,
interview, like, and also
mm,
just kind of the community piece. Like I get to talk to a lot of people who are doing very cool things, like much like yourself.
mm,
So I hear all these different perspectives. So I feel like it's
mm.
really been healthy for me and a good like outlet besides hockey that I can just kind of
Yeah,
go for.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So this is kind of an interesting question. Like, what is your why behind the things you pursue? And like, where do you get the motivation to do the things you're doing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, um, hmm, yeah, that
And
almost like weirdly made me emotional. Um, I uh I think like everyone wants to be useful, Like I think I used to do things because I wanted to be happy, and then you realize, happiness is a fleeting feeling. You can't be happy, you can feel happy. Um, you can be fulfilled, you know, but you can't be happy all the time. You can't be happy 24/7 because happiness only exists because there's sadness, right? So I think I've come to this realization of like I I do what keeps me going, why I do a lot of things is because I want to be useful. Of course, everybody wants to have a sense of purpose, And so right now with this production company, I'm, trying to build kind of this community of creators that are all going towards the same thing, but like have that locker room vibe where we're all feeling fulfilled and valued and, can bounce off of each other and continue building. And no one owns anybody, it's anti-authoritarian. Like we're all independent contractors working, but towards the same goal. That was like so probably off traffic, but even or off topic, but like even I mean, I got married just over a year ago, and I wake up and I want to be useful. I want to derive, a sense of purpose and value for my wife, and I think that's my whys as I just want to wake up and be useful and try and create something that's going to impact others, in a benefit in a positive way, really.
yeah, yeah, there's so much value in what you just said. I hope you realize that. Like, that's very, like a really powerful thing. And I feel like that will definitely help someone listening. So I appreciate
Mm.
that. Is what
Uh-huh.
advice do you have for people who aren't sure what they want to do in life or what to pursue?
Yeah, you just gotta be open. I just had a conversation with my little brother, and I don't even know if he knows exactly what he wants to do, but he's thinking about coming down. I live in Nashville, Tennessee.
Mhm.
He's thinking about coming down to Nashville, Tennessee, and spending a month down here. And the number one thing I said was like, okay, well, if you don't really know what you want to do, then now's the time because you have like the least amount of responsibilities you're ever going to have, right? You're just like, he's still in college. It's going to be the summer between his junior and senior year. Like, but if you don't know what you want to do, you have to be okay with looking like a dumbass. Like, you just have to be okay. You have to be stupidly curious. Like you just have to be okay walking in a room, being the dumbest person in the room, and then being a sponge and just absorbing like all the best aspects of whatever you can learn from anyone else that's in that room. You know what I mean? And if it's not the room or the people in the room, then maybe it's, the event that you're at, or the location that you're in, or the place that you're exploring. And I think I realized that most for sure. The most I ever learned, this not a knock on college, but like the most I ever learned was when I lived in a bus for 5 months and I traveled all over the country in this bus with my high school roommate. And because we were just stupidly curious. I mean, we made friends with, one morning we woke up in a bunkhouse on the bayou in Louisiana with random, locals that we met at the restaurant the night before, and they just let us crash in their bunkhouse. Another night we're riding a bull in Arizona. Another night we're, surfing in Malibu. Like it was all with locals, just because we just started conversations. We learned what they did. We learned, like what it was like to be a local in that area. And we just like, there was no stone to be left unturned. It was just like, try everything, experience everything, and learn what you do and don't like. And then in that sense, you learn what you don't like, but you at least gain perspective, to kind of like round out your thoughts about the world or anything. So yeah, I'd just say just just be okay being dumb and trying to learn. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And be okay and be okay taking risks. Because what's the worst that's going to happen? The worst that's going to happen is that you look like an idiot and then you never see that person again. And it's like, in all reality, if we can eliminate our egos from the situation, like that doesn't harm you, doesn't harm that person, doesn't harm anyone else that's, surrounding you. So it's like taking chances, taking risks, and just being like, whatever happens from this happens from this. And I'm going to grow from it, whether it's positive or negative experience.
absolutely. I love that advice a lot. And that's all my questions. So you're off the hook for now.